or do homework need to be decided on as well. You're going to want to dispose of extra furniture that prevents safety, and you definitely need to declutter to avoid falls. And realize that as children grow up, as teenagers, they won't want to spend as much time with a grandparent, and the older family members may not appreciate the volume level on the TV or stereo. That's for the teenagers. The grandparents may have to turn up the volume in themselves. So it's important to have a separate space. Do your housekeeping standards match each other? How often do you vacuum? What days do you do laundry? When do you mow the lawn? All the household chores that need to be considered. When everyone is responsible for pitching in and helping as they can, it does make the coexistence much easier. Be sure that your house can accommodate multi-generational living. You need lots of levels and tight bathrooms and narrow hallways and poor lighting are just a few features that need to be upgraded or refurbished to accommodate a multi-generational lifestyle. So how do you find a multi-generational home? Well, today many families are recreating their own picture of success. Success to this group means choosing a way of living that combines with the extended family resources and creating closeness. Being a multi-generational family is more than just a way to live, it's a way to thrive. Existing homes can be retrofitted to accommodate multi-generations. The Certified Senior Advisor Journal, I am a Certified Senior Advisor Journal, and they publish this quarterly. And it recently published an article that I wrote on multi-generational housing. You can log online to CertifiedSeniorAdvisor.com and find the article online if you'd like to read it. I help people evaluate their housing needs and help them find a location. Predominant locations for this type of housing is Arizona, Nevada, California, Florida, Minnesota, New Jersey, North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, and Washington State. So another option I want you to think about, though, is shared or co-housing. Now, living with a roommate may make you feel like you're traveling back in time to college days, but sharing your living arrangements with others does provide a number of advantages. Isolation is kind of limited. You have others around interacting with you. More than 30% of baby boomers are single, and many of those are women. And the solution to live as inexpensively as possible becomes more important and more advantageous. Housemates can be a support system that neighbors and friends or relatives may not be able to provide. Remember the Golden Girls TV show in the late 80s? They had Blanche and Sophia and Dorothy and Rose. They had a good idea. This type of living arrangement provides several options for affordable housing, but it's not like college. It is cheaper to live with other people. You share housing costs, utilities, sometimes even the food. If your home is large, you can offset the cost of maintaining it by having roommates. You can age in place and have an affordable way to live. There are others who will share the chores and the responsibilities and provide a helping hand. I've even seen situations where an older person, an older adult, will share with college students because then they get room and board in exchange for doing the chores, mowing the lawn, helping with grocery shopping, things like that. And if you do fall, it's more likely that someone will be there to help you get up or call 911 for you. 4 million women aged 50 or more live in a household with at least 2 women over the age of 50. The National Center for Family and Marriage Research indicates that 1 out of 3 baby boomers face getting older without their spouse. Women live about 5 years longer than men on average. Many of them live more than that. Yeah, there's challenges to living with someone else. You need a spirit of cooperation, and you have to have healthy boundaries, and you respect the privacy of the others in the home. Roommates are not a substitute for a spouse or a chauffeur. They're partners, just a different type of living arrangement. You have to respect each other's opinions, worldviews, lifestyles, and they will do the same for you. Does the person you're thinking of sharing with have a personality that you like? Can you get along with that person? Can you laugh about stuff? Not get too serious? What would be a deal breaker for you? Messiness? A pet? A boyfriend sleeping over? Obviously, you need to be sure the person is financially able to contribute their share of the living expenses. And so you want to obviously check references and call them to call the references to find out how they did with that person. And you can Google the person's name to see what the internet says about her or him. It's a good idea to have a written, signed rental agreement that's essential to outline house rules, like who will do what, who will be responsible for collecting utility payments and sending them off before the due date. Each roommate will provide references and agree to a background check, of course. But what will be the policy for overnight guests? Ideally, roommates should share some similarities and interests, but also have strengths that others might not have. Cooking, gardening, pet sitting, handyman, that type of housing situation can work if you really want it to. And the last thing I want to talk about today is aging in place. It's also called living in place. But what does that mean? The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention defines aging in place as the ability to live in one's own home and community safely, independently, and comfortably, regardless of age, income, or ability level. In addition, even if you don't need it right now, adding these features helps to make your home more visitable. Even if the homeowners don't think they need additional task lighting, grab bars, or other home modifications, family members and visitors might. It's a universal design concept that's gaining in popularity as older adults decide how they want to live. Many adults don't want to move. They do want to age in place. But the cost to make modifications to your home is often more budget-friendly than moving to an assisted living facility, which will cost thousands of dollars per year. National Association of Home Builders defines a universal design as the design of products and environments to be usable by all people to the greatest extent possible without the need for adaptation or specialized design. A universally designed space is convenient from if you're age 8 or 80 and anybody in between. The design space incorporates features that provide independence. There's no step entries, wide doorways, wide hallways, good lighting. It's an enabling rather than disabling environment. It was thought that universal design is age-driven, but it really targets everybody. It's not a new idea, but as baby boomers age, it's being rediscovered and used by more people. The focus on safety, ease of movement, and attractive design for all ages and abilities is important. Universal design is really ageless. It can be for all ages, not just older adults. According to the American Association of Retired Persons, AARP, 76% of older adults don't want to move. They want to age in place, or they want to stay in their home as long as possible. They prefer to have somebody care for them in the comfort of their own home, and that's certainly understandable. But the home may not be suited for this phase of life. If they're in an older home, chances are good that it's lacking the wider hallways, lighting, interior and exterior. Doesn't have a curbless shower, doesn't have easy access to washers and dryers, doesn't have lever handles, so many of the other features that are needed for safety and accommodation. And many houses, when you bought your house in your 30s and 40s, you didn't think about it, but the stairs can now be a challenge, even though they weren't back when you bought it. Even with the installation of a chairlift, much of the existing older housing just isn't suitable for aging in place. You can hire a contractor who specializes in remodeling for your lifestyle. National Association of Home Builders website, which is www.nahb.org. Find a certified aging in place in your area. I know I'm registered for the area I work in, but the other ones, they have special training, and it really helps. More than reworking a home to make it safe are the everyday issues that arise. There's an ever-growing population that should be catered to. Why can't designers make things that are easy for everybody to use and enjoy? Why do spaghetti jars have to be loosened by some opener that's advertised on late-night infomercial for $19.95 plus shipping? Designing functional, usable, or accessible items, elements, and housing is beneficial to everyone, regardless of age. Just because your vision and strength become impaired as you age, there's no reason to be penalized. Aging in place might not work for everyone, and it probably won't be the final solution. You're just postponing an inevitable choice. But if you don't need too much help with daily living, the comfort of being in your own home and your own surroundings is wonderful. But do some planning ahead of time. A fall on the stairs or memory lapse that get worse. Upkeep of the home may increase the need for specialized care. So you want to go ahead and investigate places that sound interesting and get on the waiting list, because many of the better places have long wait periods and may not have the type of housing you want, even if your name comes to the top of the list. A big issue is that you're planning ahead for something that may or may not happen, but it's important to discuss it and prepare a plan so that those who care for you will know what to do. An emergency or crisis situation is not the time to be looking for a place to go for care. So I hope this has helped you today, and you can listen to my other 3 segments in this Home Sweet Home podcast series. I talk about active adult communities, master plan communities, condominiums, and this just gives you an overview of what you can do and making a decision on housing. And thanks for joining me today.